Syrian Arab Army tightens control over 3 sites east of Palmyra as Syrian Air Force destroyed ISIS hideouts in al-Hasaka. In cooperation with the Lebanese resistance, Syrian Arab Army units take control of more buildings in al-Zabadani. And Russia talks of a possible third round of inter-Syrian consultations. Good afternoon. Syrian Arab Army units have maintained control over Hayal Hotel, Al-Qadri Farm and Thaniyat Al-Rajma in Hom's countryside after eliminating the last ISIS gatherings there. In Al-Hasaka, the Syrian Army has maintained full control over Al-Layliya neighborhood as Syrian Air Force destroyed terrorist vehicles and equipment and left a number of armed men dead in Al-Shaddadi in the governor's suburb, as well as in Abu al-Duhur and Jisr al-Shughur in Idlib countryside. In Hamas suburb, the warplanes targeted terrorist gatherings in Al-Latamna and Al-Hawayjeh, killing and wounding scores of them. Several armed men were wounded in Al-Mukhayyam Park, the vicinity of the Sultan gas station, and on Al-Sad Road, as terrorist infiltration attempts in the direction of military checkpoints near the courts and education buildings were foiled. Many gunmen were left dead or wounded. In cooperation with the Lebanese resistance, Syrian Arab Army units continue their extensive military operations, which they started last Saturday morning against Takfiri terrorist organizations in the town of al-Zabadani in Damascus western countryside. The operations resulted in destroying an armored vehicle in al-Zabadani plain and a 50-meter-long tunnel inside al-Sultani neighborhood, which was used by the terrorists to transfer weapons and ammunition. Intensive operations have been meanwhile carried out in Sergaya Road, northeast of al-Zabadani. The army also advanced in the direction of Qal'at al-Zahra, southwest of the city. Several buildings were seized in the area. Dozens of terrorists were killed or wounded, as many of them fled in the direction of the ancient part of the town. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Gennady Gatilov stressed that his country hopes the third round of talks in Moscow between the Syrian government and opposition will be able to reach tangible results. Gatilov pointed out that no time has been set up yet to hold the meeting, pointing out that all political sides have expressed a political will to find a solution to the crisis, as Moscow is ready to facilitate such a process. According to the Russian Foreign Ministry, Gatilov will discuss the prospects of settling the crisis in Syria with the UN Special Envoy Staffan de Mistura. The upcoming meeting will discuss the course of the negotiation process. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister for Counter-Terror Affairs has talked about 2,200 armed men of Russian descent who are currently fighting by the side of the terrorist extremist organizations in Syria and Iraq. The minister said last year that Russian security bodies opened 100 criminal files against Russian nationals who fought in Syria. It is crucial, he added, to prevent any aggression against Russian land or citizens by ISIS. He pointed out that states that are called upon to play a major role in confronting terrorism are still pursuing a policy of double standards in dealing with the terrorist danger. Iraqi troops eliminated 23 terrorists and destroyed their hideouts in several areas. The Iraqi army also destroyed 3 booby-trapped cars east of Fallujah. A military source said that the Iraqi troops launched an attack on terrorist hideouts in 6 different areas, dismantling a house loaded with explosives. The Iraqi troops also destroyed 11 vehicles and a truck loaded with explosive devices, which tried to attack a security checkpoint near Fallujah. The Iraqi Ministry of Defense announced that a factory designed to prepare booby-trapped cars was destroyed and 7 terrorists were killed in the industrial neighborhood in Fallujah. At least 138 people were killed in Yemen, mostly women and children, following vicious Saudi airstrikes on different parts of the country. The Saudi airstrikes targeted government buildings in Al-Hazm city and in the capital Sana'a. The Saudi warplanes also launched 8 strikes on Al-Rajm city, causing damages to a local hospital in Hajjah. 10 Yemeni citizens were killed following an airstrike which targeted a mosque in Lahj. In another development, 2 car bombs targeted the capital Sana'a, killing dozens of people. ISIS has claimed responsibility for the attack. Welcome back. The human heritage in Palmyra is going through its hardest moments as terrorists are not saving any effort to destroy life and civilization. What is the fate of this heritage? We'll find out in this report.
Syria might not have witnessed such barbaric aggression for long centuries. The terrorist organization, the so-called Islamic State, is a danger on the whole humanity. Its thugs not only brutally execute humans, but also the human heritage. They have already destroyed priceless heritage that goes back to centuries before Christ. This heritage has survived earthquakes and invasions over history, but never imagined it would fall in the hands of such medieval lunatics in the 21st century. Palmyra, the bride of the desert and an open-air museum, is now going through its hardest moments since it was destroyed the first time by the Roman Emperor Aurelian 17 centuries ago. What is the destiny of Palmyra's relics? What are the measures taken by the Syrian government in order to save them?
For sure, several measures have been taken for this purpose, not only Palmyra but most of the Syrian cities, mainly transferring to safe places hundreds of the relics from Palmyra Museum prior to the city being attacked by ISIL. What have remained are those pieces which are either too heavy to carry or too fragile to be transported as expediently as others.
The tragedy is not only in the destruction of the human heritage, but in murdering civilization itself. Palmyra's amphitheater, for instance, was a theater of life, art and beauty. But now, under these thugs, it's become a theater of death, savagery and ugliness. However, just like other aggressors, these terrorists are going to vanish and Palmyra will remain Syrian forever. The Syrian Arab army will come to your rescue soon.
With this, we conclude our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our Facebook page, Syria TV channels. You may also watch the Syrian satellite channel live on YouTube. Now to latest business and market news with Syria now, but after a short break. Good afternoon. An official in the Ministry of Electricity said that at the beginning of the holy month of Ramadan, the ministry promised citizens to improve the electricity situation in all governorates. However, 2 days ago, the gas pipes were targeted by terrorist attacks, which led to losing huge amounts of gas. That in turn resulted in preventing the power generating units from working. He also asserted that the power generating units weren't affected and ready to regenerate. However, the low gas amounts led to reduce the generated power, which resulted in increasing the rationing hours. He added that workers in all ministries started adopting needed measures to repair the gas lines and put them in service as soon as possible. A group of Syrian economic figures consisting of 11 businessmen is getting ready to open commercial centers in some countries to support the national economy and confront the economic blockade imposed on Syria. A member of the group indicated that they will work on achieving correspondence between industry, trade and agriculture sectors, in addition to establishing many projects to activate the national economy and support the Syrian pound. He also revealed that the centers will be opened in Egypt, Algeria, Venezuela, South Africa, Dubai and Germany, noting that the centers will include various Syrian products. The Central Bank of Syria has set the exchange rate of the US dollar against the Syrian pound at 280.79 for the banks and 281.40 for the exchange companies. The Central Bank has also set the exchange rate of the US dollar against the Syrian pound for transfers at 282. On the other hand, the euro exchange rate against the Syrian pound was set at 309.91 for the banks and 310.58 for the exchange companies. Oil prices fell again today as worries over the Greek debt crisis and China's stock market disorder outweighed an expected U.S. inventory drop, with traders anticipating further drops. European stocks rebounded from a sell-off as marginal equities rose. Japanese Nikkei share average, on the other hand, fell to a 7-week low today as investors feared a relentless sell-off in Chinese shares could hurt Japanese companies relying on strong demand from China. Gold extended losses to trade at its lowest since March today, as its allure as a safe haven asset took a hit despite the Greek debt crisis and the tumble in Chinese stock markets. The yen climbed to a 6-week high against the dollar today after Chinese stocks struggled to pull out of a tailspin, pushing investors already shaken by Greece's debt crisis to seek out safe havens. With this, we conclude our economic news for today. Thank you for watching and goodbye.